Let's talk about a $2,000 fourth federal level recession stimulus check, which we're hearing is very likely going to be on the way here, as this week we're expecting the announcement of the recession, and also we just heard from the White House on this. This is your breaking news stimulus check update and stimulus package update. Now, first off, we're hearing that the number one reason another check could be on the table is going to be due to a recession. They're saying the way things are going with our economy, a recession is very likely going to be announced this week, and as a result, stimulus checks, they are going to be necessary to help out the American people. And we're hearing that this week, the Federal Reserve is going to be announcing how they're going to be combating this. We're expecting them to crank up those interest rates. The Fed could surprise markets by sounding even more aggressive as the economy teeters, and they're saying an aggressive interest rate hike will very likely mean a recession right now. Business credit consumers are never better in our lifetime. Now I'm going to share with you the entire video clip so that way you can see it for yourself here in just a second. But why are they coming out with this? Well, it's because we're hearing that GDP, the economy, was likely going to be pulling back, and that's going to be 2 consecutive quarters, which take a look at the definition of a recession. Typically, most people would say it's generally identified as fall in GDP after 2 consecutive quarters. Take a look at an official press release from the White House. How do economists determine whether the economy is going to be in a recession? Well, what is the recession? While some maintain that it's not 2 consecutive quarters of falling real GDP that constitutes a recession. That is neither the official definition nor the way that economists have valued to state of the business cycle. Just in case you're wondering, 1 plus 1 actually equals 3. Take a look, the White House is not changing the definition of a recession. The White House recently laid out why 2 quarters of negative growth does not always signal a recession, yet a growing number of voices have accused the administration of changing the definition of a downturn. If we are entering into a recession, we need help, but send out economic provisions. Let's make it targeted to make sure that it helps out those that need it most, and not add more debt and more inflation. Let's reissue existing funds. We're gonna be taking a look at the video footage here in just a second, but with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive right in. I want to read from the Senator Warren's Albany Today chart because it speaks to me before the Federal Reserve triggers a recession. Mr. Powell should remember that the one medicine in the kit that he has doesn't create the economic illness. That we have low unemployment and high inflation are painful, but manufacturing a recession that puts millions of Americans out of work may not even work on higher prices. So it seems weird. That's what we're all chasing. It's not a good way to do business. So a lot unpacked there, as well as the conversation that Becky has just had with Steve. I guess I would really object to this kind of semantic claim. I mean, the two of them just had a very substantive economic discussion. That wasn't about semantics. It was about what's going on with key economic variables. You know, the idea that 2 quarters of negative GDP growth is a technical definition of a recession is wrong. And I think one of the things we try to point out in that blog is that the folks who actually make the call, the business cycle dating committee, they looked at the set of variables, some of which Steve underscore remain quite strong. Now, when you talk about gas prices, that's right, they're down 66 cents off their peaks, about 13%. And you know that's a saving an aggregate of well over $200 million a day. Oh, I'm glad you're showing a map in 8 of those states there in the south. Gas is actually below $4 a gallon. I think it's around 30,000 gas stations, about a fifth of all stations. So yes, prices are too elevated. By the way, they've not twice that they were before Putin swore they were about 320 there. They're about 3, you know. Around 3 or 4 winners today is a 436 today, so not twice, but definitely uncomfortably elevated. Still, we have much more work to do in that, so the trend is moving in the right direction. And it's just the catch-22 that we find ourselves in, and listening to Secretary Yellen rightly talking about how great the jobs market is right now, how low unemployment is right now. Consumers still seem to be doing okay. But if you're trying to orchestrate a demand slowdown, all those things make the Fed's job even harder and mean. Maybe they have got to go further. So I struggle with this. Is the economy in such a good place right now that we can withstand a series of interest rate hikes? Or is the economy in such good shape right now that means we got too much further to bring down the pricing pressure? Well, that's exactly the right question. I think the point of the conversation that Becky and Steve have, which is very much the way we think about this, is that if you look at the first half of the year, it's very hard to make a recessionary call. The data just aren't consistent with a recession in the first half, including where we are right now. But what kind of visibility do we have looking forward around the next corner to answer your very well-framed question? I mean, those data come with a lag, which is why the business cycle dating committee tells you you're in a recession. Well, after it started, in many cases, ask for it's over. But I do want to read you one thing, Joe, because this is very timely. It's from an earnings call. It speaks directly to your question. It's from an earnings call by JP Morgan last week, so very up-to-date quote. Consumers are in good shape. They're spending money. They have more income. Jobs are plentiful. They're spending 10% more than last year, almost 30% more than pre-COVID businesses. You talk to them, they're in good shape. They're doing fine. We have never seen business credit better ever in our lifetimes. Now, that doesn't mean all bets are off regarding recession probabilities, but it does mean that the backdrop of the strong labor market, solid balance sheets, elevated consumer spending puts us in a good shape relative to where we've often been in times of pressure like those we face right now. So there you have it, you guys. That just came out, and this week we're going to be hearing from the Federal Reserve getting that economic data, and it's very likely we're going to be hearing a lot of announcements of an official recession. But the White House is saying it's not official. Now we will see how everybody's respond to this. What's going to be happening with the Federal Reserve Congress stimulus. We're hearing a lot of people are missing out on this right now. We've got one in Connecticut where after 6 months, they've only given out 1% of the funds. They were given $34 million. They've only given out 300,000, and it's because they're saying nobody's applying. And they're saying it's because nobody knows about it. I'm going to make sure that does not happen to you. With that being said, you guys, once again, thank you so much for joining me.